In this video, we're going to be looking at the scores reports in IXL and the 3 subscores that can be generated as a result. So the first subscore or report that can be generated is called the score grid. Really, this is essentially a digital grade book. So it will have your list of students across the top, as well as all of the skills that the students have been working on, and it'll show you their SMART scores all the way through for each of the students and each score. This is great if you want a quick look at how students are doing in general. So you can kind of skim it and say, oh, this is the skill that I'm looking at, skim right across, see how they're doing as a class. The student score chart report is a single student progress across all of the skills. So this is a great one if you want to share with your parents during conferences or even during an IEP. So again, you pull up that specific student, you can show a list of all of the skills that student has been working on, and then show the progress that student has made as they've been working on it. The last report offered under the scores report page is called Skill Score Chart. And this will allow you to see class-wide progress across a single skill. So it's similar to the score grid, except for the score grid lets you see all of the skills and all of the students. The student score lets you see all of the skills and one student, but the skill score lets you see one skill and all of your students. So let's take a look at what they look like in real life on the IXL platform. Let's try that again. There we go. So here we are. I'm going to go ahead into score grid. Now, I don't have a lot of data to show you because it is the beginning of the school year and the students at Turl are just starting to get into it. But I'll kind of give you a live view. So if I've got students here, I can select the grade. Remember, every time you see this little icon, that means you can download and print that data. I can look at specific students. I can look at date range. Actually, I'm going to see if I can go into all time and see what that gives me. And I'm going to select second grade and kindergarten, and there we go. We can see some data. So this is that chart that I was telling you that will let you look at all of the students in your class and all of the skills that they've been working on. So I can also select practice skills only. I can select currently suggested skills. So if there are skills that I wanted them to be working on, this will help narrow down what you're working on. And then it will also give me the option to do scores that are mastery, all the category, whatever, it gives you a lot of different options for resetting it. So I'm not going to do any narrowing down, but I can see here if I want to know how my students in general are doing on identifying numbers up to 3. The students who have answered it are all doing really, really well. And as I hover over, I can see, oh, this friend only has a SMART score of a 28. So she's answered 3 questions. She spent less than a minute on it. That's probably why her SMART score is only 28. This one has answered 6 questions, again, less than a minute. If I wanted to click, it would take me to Hazen's page and I could dig deeper into how Hazen is doing. So let's go ahead now and look at the next report, the student score chart. So remember, this is a report that looks at one particular student and how they're doing on all of the skills that they've been practicing. This is that report that is really good for an IEP or a parent-teacher conference. And so again, I'm going to go ahead and pull up one of my friends that we've been looking at. And I'm going to change the time, the date range. I'm going to leave it at all time. And you can see here as I look through, maybe I don't want to have this particular student. There should be a skill or something that he's been working on, but I'm not seeing it. So let's go ahead and change and do first grade and second grade and kindergarten and see if that changes my data. Yep, changes it a little bit. And so I can scroll down again and see where he's at. There it is. Okay. So in some pre-kindergarten activities, long and short, he has 100 in this skill, answered 17 questions, spent 4 minutes, and the last time he practiced this was May 26th of last year. So this is, again, it gives me all of the skills for one particular student. If I wanted to click on this, it would take me to that skill and that actual question that he worked on. And it would give me a printout of how he did on that question. Lots of clickable options. And the last one that we're going to take a peek at is called skill score chart. And so again, this gives you a specific skill, but how all of your students are doing. So let's say you're focusing on a specific skill in math, and I'm going to go ahead and click grades, and we're going to click first grade and maybe counting to 100. And let's see how that goes. So now I've narrowed it down to a specific skill. I can see that I've got 24% of my group has mastered it. I have 4 that are proficient, 4 who have practiced, but 68 of my student population hasn't. So here we can go ahead and look at all of my students' scores in the entire group and how each student has done, their SMART score, their questions answered, their time spent, and the last time they practiced. And so I can get a quick view of how my kids are doing in a specific skill. So if I find that I have a lot of kids that are sitting at below a 50 SMART score, maybe this is one that I want to go ahead and create a group jam for, or a MTSS group for, so I can help pull them up, or even maybe assign a few more questions for those particular students.